I do have to do a little bit of gloating on the culture front. There was a big cultural win here. We sort of predicted it on this show. It's the get woke, go broke prediction. We talked last time about how people don't want to see toys and cartoon characters engaging in all sorts of eccentric sexual activities and kissing and pushing the woke sexual revolutionary agenda. And then over the weekend, Lightyear, which made a big show of having a lesbian toy kiss in it, Lightyear bombed at the box office. They were expecting a global box office of $135 million. What did it come to? I think it was 80-something million. And then the domestic box office was way below predictions at $51 million. Did you, Senator, take the air out of the gay toys?
That's a question I've never gotten before. Listen, I will say this. I do think it's amazing how the Verdict podcast seems to be driving Hollywood. At our campus live tour in Alabama, we talked about how Disney wanted Mickey and Pluto to go at it, and liberals' brains exploded. And apparently the showrunners for Lightyear said, hey, what a great idea. Let's have lesbian toys, get it on. And, they got a little Barry White with his deep voice, let's get it on. And then last week on Verdict, we said, this is terrible, leave the kids alone. You said we don't want to see eccentric sex with kids or toys. Let me take out the word eccentric. How about no sex? Like kids and toys. And by the way, I will say, leftists really lost their minds because last week we talked about, do we really need lesbian toys in cartoons? And leftists, like the phrase lesbian toys, that I really think their tiny little walnut-sized brains broke. That apparently they're supposed to go on these cultural rampages, and we're not supposed to notice.
Yep.
And not only that, we're all supposed to quietly shut up and take our kids. Well, you know what? There were very few kids' movies at the box office this past weekend. It was Father's Day. You want to talk about a good time to take your kids to the movies. And I think there were a whole bunch of Americans that said, you know what? I can think of something better to do than listen to Hollywood lecture my 6-year-old on their views of sexuality. How about just have a fun, like the Toy Story films are awesome.
Yeah.
But it speaks volumes that while Lightyear was getting his ass kicked, the kicker was Tom Cruise and Maverick and Top Gun, a straight up patriotic, conservative, we love Americans, beat the bad guys. Like the contrast is night and day, and Hollywood is so knuckleheaded that they seem unable to get the message. Maybe they will, because look, there's tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars delta between those two. Maverick's been out for several weeks and it's still obliterated Lightyear. Somebody depositing the checks ought to notice that.
They certainly should. This is what the left does to so many institutions. Is, as you say, Toy Story is a great movie. It's a great I love Toy Story 1. I liked Toy Story 2. I don't really remember Toy Story 3 or if there was a 4, but they were good movies.
And by the way, Tim Allen was fantastic.
Tim Allen was fantastic, and then they yanked him out of this movie. And so people look at it and they say, well, we like these movies. And then the radicals go in and they say, oh, look, we've got these really popular movies and institutions. Let's go in and in a really heavy-handed way, in a very didactic and obvious way, let's go in and use the things that people love to push our radical political agenda, which is completely superfluous and irrelevant to the story. And I'm really pleased to see that the American parents and moviegoers said, oh, no, thank you. Yeah, we like Toy Story. We don't like you using the things that we love to push your radical agendas. So no, thanks.